Welcome to the Sales Influence Podcast, where we talk about finding the why in how people buy. I'm your host, Victor Antonio. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for lending me your ears. Today, I want to talk about a question I get a lot, which is, Victor, how do I, get more traffic to my website? How do I get a lot more inbound leads? How do I position myself as an expert and get people to hire me for my services, my professional services? Well, I'm going to give you one big strategy that I use, and I think you should do the same thing. One of the things people go online for is to look for content. So if you want to position yourself as an expert, as an authority, you have to begin to produce content online that demonstrates that you're an authority. I mean, think about it. In today's market, outreach is one, cold calling, outreach is one strategy. But most people are finding their way to your website. The customer journey to your website entails them researching online. Said another way, when people have a problem, they're going to go online. They're going to go to Google. They're going to go whatever Bing, whatever search engine they use, and they're going to search. And they're going to typically search for content that's going to help them solve their problem. Now, think about your business right now, and then ask yourself, what are the typical problems or questions that your customers have? What are the typical problems they have, and what are the typical questions that they usually ask you? And then begin to develop content around that. So what I want to do right now is I want to give you some templates for titles that are very catchy, that'll draw people into you. In other words, when people are searching online, they're going to find these articles and the title is going to grab them. So here's some what I call article or blog templates. By that, I mean, you can create an article with these templates. You can create a blog. You can even do a small little podcast on these templates. You just have to fill in the blank. Let's go through it so you can understand what I'm talking about. For example, one of the questions your customer undoubtedly has is, how much does it cost to fill in the blank? How much does it cost to fill in the blank? Now, what would your blank be? Fill in that blank, and maybe you can write an article or do a podcast around that. Here's another one. How do you fill in the blank? Again, typical questions your customers are asking you. Number 3, which is better? This product, fill in the blank, or that product, fill in the blank. Which is better to use, this or that? That's another template you could use. Another article you could write. How about this one? What's the difference between this and that? This and that being two products. One could be yours, one could be your competitors, right? So you can compare that. Customers are asking themselves that question. Then, how about this one? 5th one. Should you, and then a controversial idea. Should you fill in the blank? What would that be for you? Should you, what would that title that be of that podcast or article be? The next one, when is the right time to fill in the blank? So for example, if you're putting in a pool, you're in the pool business, you might want to write an article as, when is the right time to build a pool or install a pool in ground? Or if you're buying software, when is the best time to start using this software? When is the right time to buy a new car if you're a dealership? You get the idea. How about this one? How do you handle fill in the blank? So think about your product, your service right now, and the question your customer asks is, how do you handle, how should I approach this? And then whatever that this is, that's your fill in the blank. Here's another template. Problems with this and solutions. So for example, if you're selling a CRM system, you can say problems with a CRM system and other solutions. How about this one? Does fill in the blank really work? Well, that's a good one right there. Does fill in the blank really work? So for example, I do a lot of sales training. So mine would be, does sales training really work? Question mark. And I can do a blog around that or an article or a podcast. Does fill in the blank really work? Do CRMs really work? Are CRMs really effective, right? Get the idea? One more to kind of get you going. The top 5 things to consider before buying fill in the blank. And again, this is your product, right? The top 5 things, top 10 things to consider before buying your product or service. So I've given you about 10 different ideas to kind of get you going. And what I want you to do is to commit. If you're willing to do this, I want you to commit to writing one article or doing one blog or doing one podcast every week. One week you can do, how much does it cost to fill in the blank? In my case, it would be, how much does it cost to train my sales team for one day? How much does it cost when you don't train your salespeople? That could be another topic for me. Week number 2, how do you fill in the blank? For me, sales training would be, how do you increase your close rate? Ooh, I know they searched for that one. That would be a good one. Week number 3, which is better, overcoming objections or blocking objections? You get the idea? So again, use this for your product or service. Use it to stimulate some ideas so you can generate these articles, these blogs, these podcasts, because what's happening today is that people are reaching out to the internet, they're finding content, and if your content is not there, then you will not be on the customer journey to your website or your product. So again, let's begin to think about how do we create content, and begin with the basics. Ask yourself, what questions do my clients ask? What solutions are they looking for online? And then let's create some content around that. And you can post it on YouTube. Again, you can go to LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. You could really share this content all over the internet. So when somebody types in, how do you fill in the blank? They'll find your article, your podcast, and that'll drive more traffic to your website. And once they come to your website after listening to your podcast or reading your articles, that means they already know you, which means they're 50, 60, 70% into the buying process already, which means your conversion rate will go up. And that is it for this Sales Influence podcast. Leave me some feedback on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube. You know the deal. Let me know what you think about creating content and using it to actually drive traffic to your website and increase your conversion rate. Would love to hear your thoughts. And after that, leaving me feedback, check out the Sales Velocity Academy. You know the deal. Over 50 courses, 500 videos. If you want to increase your sales speed, go to salesvelocityacademy.com. And that is it for this podcast. This is Victor Antonio, always reminding you, selling ain't hard when you know how. Take care.
Hi, I'm Victor Antonio. I'm an author, sales trainer, and keynote speaker. I'm often asked, what makes a great speaker? Is it someone who delivers real content that the audience can use? Is it someone who engages the audience so they're part of the learning experience? Or is it someone who can motivate an audience to push them beyond their comfort zone and discover new abilities? The answer is yes. But the most important thing to remember is that I'm not there to look good. I'm there to make my client look good. Simply put, it's never about me, and it's always about them.